Now, if that looks familiar, don't worry. You're certainly not alone. I'm Steve Ellis. I'm a British English teacher, and I've been helping learners achieve advance and proficiency in English for many years. And I know that many learners have a slightly traumatic relationship with phrasal verbs. In fact, I've met plenty of advanced learners who would happily wrestle with the third conditional, the passive voice, inversion and reported speech all at the same time, if it meant that they could avoid phrasal verbs altogether. And to be fair, I understand why. Take a simple verb like get. You can get up, get down, get over something, get through something, get away with something, get around to something, get on with something, and that's only scratching the surface. Or consider put. You can put something off, put up with something, put somebody up, put somebody away, put something down. No wonder learners sometimes feel as though somebody is making these things up as they go along. The really frustrating part is that native speakers use phrasal verbs constantly, not occasionally, constantly. We don't wake up in the morning and consciously decide, oh, today I'll use phrasal verbs. They simply form part of the way we communicate. They're woven into everyday conversation. They're on television. They're in films. They're in podcasts. They're in newspapers. They're in the workplace. They're in everyday discussions. They're everywhere. And of course, native speakers don't learn phrasal verbs from lists. We don't sit down at school and memorize thousands of them. In fact, if you ask most people, they wouldn't even know what a phrasal verb is. We acquire them naturally through repeated exposure. We hear them, we read them, we use them again and again and again. And that's the approach behind my new course, 400 Essential Phrasal Verbs. Yeah, essential. I've selected 400 phrasal verbs that native speakers use time and again, and they're the phrasal verbs that advanced learners should know. The important thing about the course is that rather than trying to get you to memorize endless lists, you encounter them in their natural context. Now, instead of saying encounter, I would have more naturally said you come across them, which is a phrasal verb in itself. So you meet them, you encounter them. You see how they're used. You hear examples. You'll review them through quizzes and activities. And gradually, they'll begin to feel more familiar and more natural. Will you remember all 400 immediately? Almost certainly not. Neither would I. But by the end of the course, you'll understand far more phrasal verbs, recognize them more quickly, and most importantly, feel much more confident using them yourself. So, if phrasal verbs have ever given you nightmares, you're in the right place to start turning that nightmare into something a little more manageable. But rather than me just telling you how the course works, let's have a look at it in action. Here's part of lesson 1, where we look at phrasal verbs with took. Our first phrasal verb is look after. This means to take care of something or someone. You might ask a friend to look after your dog while you're away on holiday. You might ask a neighbour to look after your house while you're travelling. Or as in the example on the screen, you might ask somebody to look after your bag while you go and buy a coffee. One thing worth noticing is that we often use look after with people, animals and possessions. For example, my sister looks after my mother. Who's looking after the children tonight? Could you look after the cat while we're away? It's one of those phrasal verbs you'll hear constantly in everyday conversation, so it's well worth learning thoroughly. Now, let's move on to look ahead. The first meaning is to think about the future and make plans. This is something we all know we should do, although many of us are better at it than others. Successful people often look ahead. They think about where they want to be next month, next year, or 5 years from now. The example on the screen mentions planning for next year. That's a very common use. If you're studying for an exam, such as CAE or CPE, looking ahead can make a huge difference. Rather than leaving everything until the last minute, you plan your study in advance. A useful expression here is, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Whether that's completely true or not, there's certainly some wisdom in it. The second meaning of look ahead is closely related but slightly different. Here it means to anticipate future problems or opportunities. In other words, you're not simply planning, you're trying to spot what might happen in the future. If you're a teacher, good teachers do this all the time. They look ahead and think about the difficulties students may encounter later. Businesses do the same thing. Governments try to do the same thing, sometimes successfully, sometimes not. If you're planning a long car journey, you might look ahead and check for roadworks, traffic delays, or bad weather. The key idea is anticipation. You're thinking several steps ahead rather than simply reacting when problems appear. Next, we have look at. Now, at first glance, this may seem ridiculously easy. Surely everyone knows look at. Well, yes, but let's not dismiss it too quickly. The first meaning is exactly what you'd expect, directing your eyes towards something. Look at that old car. Look at that building. Look at those clouds. Simple enough. But it's worth remembering that many common phrasal verbs are common precisely because we use them so often. If you're taking a speaking exam, the examiner may ask you to look at a photograph and describe what you can see. That's a very natural use of look at. Meaning two. Now, here's where things become more interesting. Look at doesn't always involve your eyes. It can also mean to consider or examine something carefully. For example, we need to look at the evidence. We need to look at the problem. We need to look at the options. In all of these examples, no one is necessarily staring at something. Instead, they're analyzing or considering something. The meaning is extremely common in business, in meetings, and in academic contexts. Let's look at the figures. They don't simply mean look at them physically. They mean examine them and think about what they tell us. Let's move on to look for. The first meaning is to search for something. And in my case, probably a pair of reading glasses that are sitting right on top of my head. The example on the screen mentions looking for keys and glasses. That's a situation many of us can relate to. The second meaning of look for is less obvious. Here, look for means to expect or hope for something. For example, we're looking for a positive outcome. That doesn't mean we're searching for it physically. It means we're hoping for it. In an exam, you're looking for evidence in the text. In a job interview, employers are looking for candidates with particular skills. When reading a newspaper article, you might be looking for information that supports or challenges your opinion. The idea is expectation rather than physical searching. Before we continue, let's pause for a moment and review what we've covered so far. We've seen look after, look ahead, look at, look for. Notice how one simple verb, look, combines with different particles to create completely different meaning. That's one of the keys to mastering phrasal verbs. Don't learn them word by word. Learn them as complete units. Right, let's carry on. Let's continue with look into. Look into means investigate something. The police are looking into the matter. If a student complains about the course, the school needs to look into it properly. You'll often hear this in news reports. When something unusual happens, the authorities usually promise to look into it. Another meaning of look into is to explore possibilities. She's looking into new job opportunities. Many people look into online courses when they want to improve their English. This meaning is less about investigating a problem and more about exploring options. If you're thinking of doing a course, changing careers, or moving abroad, you're probably looking into various possibilities, various options. Look out for. Look out for means watch carefully for something. Look out for the taxi in case it can't find our house. When reading, look out for little words like however or although, because they may change the meaning. This is particularly useful advice for Cambridge exams. Very small words often completely change the meaning of a sentence. Another meaning of look out for is to protect or care for someone. My older brothers always looked out for me. Good friends look out for each other, especially when things get difficult. The meaning is closely connected with loyalty and friendship. Everybody appreciates having someone who looks out for them. Look up. Look up means search for information. I looked the word up online. If you're not sure how a word is used, look it up in an advanced learner's dictionary. One thing I always tell learners is not to guess when a good dictionary can give you the answer in seconds. Another meaning of look up is to improve. Things are finally looking up. After a difficult few months, business is starting to look up again. This is a nice positive expression. When things start looking up, life is moving in the right direction again. So I hope that watching that extract from the lesson gave you a good idea of what the lessons are like. But there's much more to the course than the lessons themselves, than my speaking and showing examples. If that was all that was included, it really wouldn't be doing its job, because the phrasal verbs just wouldn't sink in. So along with the lessons, you also have a transcript of what I'm saying so you can follow along if you like. You have a PDF which shows you the meaning and examples of use of the phrasal verbs which were covered in the lesson. You have sets of study notes to refer to, so you can go back over the lessons to revise. You have the opportunity to do self-assessments. They give you an opportunity to see if you can remember what you've learned. They'll not only give you the correct answer, if you've given a wrong answer, they'll explain why it's wrong. There are also video quizzes with 20 or 25 phrasal verbs from that particular lesson, of course, with the answers at the end. And that quiz is also in PDF form in case you'd like to take it more slowly, because the video quiz is timed. Then at the end of the course, there's a full review section. And a great feature is the A to Z reference book, where all the phrasal verbs covered in the course are put together in alphabetical order, with their meanings and with examples. So, I do hope that you'll consider joining the course. You'll find all the details in the description, and I look forward to seeing you there. In the meantime, I'll say goodbye for now. Take care.